Well, we've all probably read that book, Jim Collins, Good to Great. And on there, he tells us that we need to find the right people and put them in the right seats of the bus to make our company successful or move forward. The problem is we don't know really what the right person looks like. And what it's really about is how they're going to fit within your team that you're hiring with or for, the position that they're going to be doing, and ultimately how they're going to communicate with your customers, how they're going to respond to management, and how they're going to fit within the culture of the company. Well, probably the number one mistake is that we go by gut feel most of the time. And I've made a lot of great hiring decisions by my gut feeling after an interview, but I've also made a lot of hiring disaster mistakes. And that's because you can be fooled, number one. And number two, sometimes we get what I call this visual stimulus. In other words, a person comes in, they look the part, and they're maybe on time. They look like everything I want. And my line of questioning changes. When it's somebody I immediately think, I want to have this person on my team, I'm not going to drill this person as hard, or I'm going to ask a lot more leading questions. The mistake we make most times is that our line of questioning is very generic. We're not asking questions that help us really understand the character of that individual. And if you had a way to assess prior to the actual face-to-face interview what their characteristics and their motivations, their integrity, their reliability, those things, if you could figure out what those are ahead of time, or at least understand them, then your line of questioning changes. You'll be asking questions directly related to those key characteristics that will really help you understand how this person is going to perform when they work for you. There are really several measures, but first off, we've got to make sure that the person that we're going to bring on is going to be the right person to bring in for my team. And what I mean by that is, look, you're responsible for the safety and welfare and the work environment of the team you already have. So by bringing someone in that may not be as ethical or may have a loose interpretation of what's right and wrong, isn't going to help you. Let's face it, someone who comes in, lies to you, lies to your customer, and shows up to work late all the time, at the end of the day is not going to help you, So that's one key measure. Second key measure needs to be, do they have the basic skills required to do this job? We heard some really shocking statistics when Apple launched the e-textbooks thing. And if you'll recall, he said, I think America's 15th when it comes to math, 21st in spelling vocabulary, and 23rd in science. Well, that means that there are going to be some folks that we're going to bring in that may lack some of those basic skills. I would think in radio, we definitely want to make sure that the people we're bringing in can spell and can put some sentences together, because obviously they're going to be working with creative to generate a message for our client. But also these guys are figuring out, scheduling and so forth. So they got to probably have some math ability. Now, I'm not saying that you wouldn't hire someone because you discover that they're a little lacking in a skill. But you could tee up a supervisor and let them know this could be an issue. And then finally, really, you want to check on that fit. At the end of the day, once I understand the character of this individual, once I know and confirm they have the basic skills necessary, are they going to fit the team? If they don't fit the team, it doesn't matter. So you may have a phenomenal candidate, but if they're a little over-aggressive compared to the rest of your team, you are going to have a drama event in no time. And we see it all the time. We got to make sure that, one, we have individuals that are assertive enough to push beyond the first no, and to really, number two, we got to find individuals that are probing enough to really get down to find out what the real pain points are. If we hire people that are very persuaded and not persuasive, what happens is they fall into that quagmire of the customer telling us, oh, it's really tough out there and nothing I'm doing works, and I've tried radio before and it doesn't work. And so next thing you know, you've got the sales rep nodding their head, yeah, I know, I hear it all the time, and I appreciate your time, thanks, and walks out the door. We've got to find people that can say, I empathize with that, but let me tell you the success that my customers are experiencing with radio, and here's why. All right, that takes a certain kind of characteristic. Not everyone can do that. You're going to want to find someone that's socially, comfortable. If you're hiring on people that really are more introverted than extroverted, no matter what they tell you on a one-on-one interview, selling is about connecting. And if the more connections your sales reps will have, the more successful they will be. And the art of connecting is all about their ability to interact with other people. They've got to be the one that can go to a social event and have no problem sticking out their hand and meeting new people. You got to love to meet new people. And when that happens, that's when those connections happen. And lastly, sometimes we hire people that are a little too sensitive, all right? We get a lot of no's as sales reps. It's part of it. And if you can't say, hey, thanks for the no, 8 more and I got a sale, then that's an issue. So folks, we got to find people that are competitive. And when I say competitive, that means they have the will to win. Now, you can have higher competitive people that are going to make it happen, and you're going to have people that are competitive, but they want to be competitive in a team atmosphere. If you're motivating or incentivizing your sales staff based on individual performance, and you bring in someone who's relatively low in the competitive nature, it's not going to motivate them. They're going to like, well, that's great, but the station's doing okay, and we hit our numbers. So what if I didn't make it? That's got to drive someone like a stake, right through the heart. You want someone to go, oh, I can't believe I let my team down. Even if the team made the score, I didn't do my part. That's in their competitive nature. There's numerous ways, and there's numerous companies that will actually help you assess your team. Most common is some sort of online or on paper assessment that will go over really their personality traits. You don't want to get too career specific. First, we got to see how people will respond to each other and in that team. For example, in radio, we may hire someone for a sales position, but in reality, their characteristics, their inner feelings are, I don't really like people all that much. I'm much more creative, much more imaginative, but I need a job, and so I'm going to tell them that I can sell ice to an Eskimo. But man, when you get me out to the masses, since I'm so miserable, I spend a lot of time circling the parking lot and not really making a lot of calls because I'm just not fulfilled. I'm not really doing what I should be doing. If you could figure what those pieces are, you may have some diamonds in your sales team that ought to be in creative, and conversely, you may have some on-air talent that would make phenomenal sales folks. But without really doing some of that internal investigation first, you'll never know. But once you have that done, now you can put the pieces together, kind of like chess pieces on a board, and when you're hiring, you're hiring to a different level. Now you're looking at, all right, I want to know the dynamic of my existing team, what's missing, what works, and let's bring in a piece that really fits the team well and will elevate them to the next level. I want to do something kind of special. I want to help broadcasters, whether it's TV, radio. Let's help them understand what they currently have. So through LBS, we'll assess their team and we'll pay for it. And whether they use our system to help them hire or not, we're going to give them a tool right away that will help them manage, motivate, and coach their existing team like they've never had before.